So, this letter was a trap? How did they place it here? There wasn't anyone in this room except for the 8 of us, right? Anyway, let's ignore how they got it in here for now. The culprit was after just one thing. They wanted to spread the seeds of doubt inside this impregnable room and use us to throw the sacrificial sheep out. In that case, they're after the people who went out of the room. What should we do? Those 4 are in danger. It wasn't surprising that Aunt Natsui remained unpleasantly silent. Even if this was all a trap by the culprits, even if the 4 who had been chased out of the room were in danger, it had nothing to do with the safety of the 4 people in here. And there was no way to prove the innocence of the 4 people we chased out. If we were willing to let them die, then we shouldn't leave this room no matter what. That way it is safest. At that time, suddenly, the piercing sound of a phone rang through the room. It was the antique extension phone set on the table in Grandfather's study. It rang right after we had started talking about the letter being a trap. It was natural we'd think of it as an SOS from the ones we chased out. But then Aunt Natsui spoke. Why a phone call? The phones should be broken down and unusable. That doesn't matter. If that's Maria calling for help. If the problem with the phones was the culprits' work in the first place, then this call is probably. With that one sentence, the ring of the phone, which had once sounded like a scream for help, now started to sound like a ghastly lure for some unknown person. Aunt Natsui hesitated over whether to pick up the receiver. Let's pick it up, Aunt Natsui. The phones might have been fixed for some reason. It could still be an urgent call from Maria-chan and the rest. That's right. And if it is actually a call from the culprit, bring it on. Why don't we listen to what they have got to say? It's just a phone call. No matter what they babble through the receiver, it's not like that's gonna hurt you. But it's still very loud. If you don't pick it up, then I will. I will take it. Hello? I stretched out my hand to take the receiver, but Aunt Natsui grabbed it before I could reach. We all held our breath, trying to figure out who the person on the other end of the phone was. But for a while, Aunt Natsui kept saying hello. A silent phone call? There's no way Maria and the others would do something so creepy. Which means this phone call possibly really be... Aunt Natsui stopped repeating hello and strained her ears, because she thought she heard something far away on the other end of the receiver. What was that? Huh? Someone... singing? What do you mean, singing? I don't know. Faintly, from the other end of the phone, I can hear someone singing. Wonder what it could be. Give it here a sec. Hello? Half forced the receiver from the stunned Aunt Natsui's hand and pressed it against my ear. At first, I didn't hear anything. But because I had been told about it beforehand, I noticed. It sounded far away from the receiver rather than someone speaking in a quiet voice. And it sounded like a girl singing a song. That voice did sound like Maria's. That just made the situation even more inexplicable. At the very least, the one who had made the phone call hadn't been Maria. After all, Maria was singing some song far away from the receiver. In that case, the one who made the phone call should have been Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, or Dr. Nanjo. Yet, they weren't saying anything. Why? For what reason? The person who made this phone call. Who was it? Hey! Hello? Who is it? Answer me. Is that Maria singing? Answer me! What is happening? What is it? I don't know. All I can say is, this is probably a trap, and Maria's in trouble. Aunt Natsui took the receiver again, but after yelling into it several more times, she realized she wasn't getting anywhere and hung up. After that, she dialed quickly. Then she clicked her tongue. That's right, if the phones are working, we should be able to reach the police. But judging my Aunt Natsui's reaction, the outside telephone line still didn't connect. Let's go. Even if we know it might be a trap, we have to go. Yeah, definitely. Jessica, Aunt Natsui, stay here. When Aniki and I tried to dash out, Aunt Natsui stopped us. Hold it. I cannot let you go alone. I will go too. Jessica, wait here. What, so I'll be the only one left out? Nice try, but I'm going too. Yeah, it might be better that way. The goal of that phone call was to split us up further. It wouldn't be a good idea to leave someone to watch this room. There's no time to argue. Let's all go. Aunt Natsui raised the rifle high and took the lead. I couldn't go unarmed myself. I found a 3-pronged candle stand and readied it. Although the pins on it were used to fit candles were short, it was almost like a 3-pronged spear. Then, the 4 of us left the study. We left the study, which should have been the safest place inside the mansion. By doing this, we had been lured out, even though we had barricaded ourselves in a safe, closed room. Perhaps we were doing exactly the same thing Grandfather had done when he had disappeared from that room. Maria? Where are you? Answer me. I listened closely, but didn't hear anything. The mansion was vast, and since the passing typhoon was making its last stand, the sound of the rain was even noisier than before. Maria-chan said she wanted to watch TV in the parlor, right? Let's try downstairs. That's right. Let's try there. Everyone, be mindful of your surroundings. Yeah. With Aunt Natsui in the center, her rifle readied and her finger on the trigger, we moved in a group, our backs together, checking our surroundings in all directions. It was just as though the magic of that magic circle, designed to spread discord, had worked. We had split up, and furthermore had been dragged out into dangerous territory. In other words, even now, we were doing just what the culprit wanted us to. This was a separate world, where it wouldn't be odd for anything to suddenly occur. Aunt Natsui nervously pointed the barrel of the gun at every dark spot and shadow. Felt like that motion was out of fear rather than caution. But the rifle she held in her hand should have been a trump card that the culprit feared. You know, I've been thinking. It wouldn't be impossible to stick one of those ice picks into someone's chest, like in Kanonkun's case. But splitting the skull and sticking them into the forehead, like in my parents' case, wouldn't be that easy. Think the culprit had that kind of animal strength? Probably had some kind of weapon or a device that can shoot or pound in those ice picks. That handle was too short to be driven in that deeply by a human strength alone. Either way, they have enough force to break through his skull. I hear Cannon's wound reached as far as his lungs. If you happen to see your opponent, don't go forwards. You mustn't move away from my back. So sinister and frightening was the weapon that could just shoot those creepy ice picks. And could I do anything to combat it with just this candle stand in my hand? The first murder, the culprit probably assaulted all 4 of our parents at once as they discussed the inheritance problem in the dining hall. And there were 4 of us here now. Apparently I wasn't the only one thinking this. Janaki, Jessica, and of course Aunt Natsui were stretching their senses to the utmost limit, in the highest and worst state of tension, slowly advancing one step, then another. What have we done? Because of the seeds of doubt spread by that one letter, we threw Maria and the rest into the middle of this terrifying world. We finally reached the first floor. The parlor was just across the hall. We listened carefully. We could hear it faintly. Maria's eerie singing voice. She wasn't singing naturally, as though she were in a good mood. She was singing mechanically, like she was in a graduation ceremony and she'd been ordered to. The song she sang was just a common folk song, one that everyone has probably sung in school at one time or another. But why that, in the middle of the night, alone, with all her heart, over and over? Why? Right after leaving the study, we had called out aloud voices, asking Maria where she was. This time, no one said even a single word. We hid our breath and sound of our footsteps, and, intently focused on our surroundings to the point of being completely high-strung, we stepped forward. Was it that creepy when you sang it in school? Probably. I mean, a lot of those school songs that you sing when you're a kid are a little creepy when you get them out of context. Context is in historical context. The door to the parlor was closed, but we could hear Maria singing through it. Aunt Natsui put her hand on the handle of the doorknob, when George Aniki stopped her. I'll open the door. Aunt Natsui, Battler-kun, ready your weapons. Understood. Take care. It might attack as soon as we open it. George Nissan, watch yourself. Sure. Then, I'll open it. Huh? He tried to open it, but immediately felt the hard resistance of the lock. Aunt Natsui took the bundle of keys from her pocket and gave them to George. Maria's gonna be singing in the middle of a room of corpses, I bet. Because she's the only one with the protection, and I think there were only 3 deaths needed left over. There were about 10 keys, and none of us had a clue which was which. Because of this, George had to fumble around loudly and test several of the keys. Since we had hidden our footsteps preparing to make a surprise attack on the room, this felt almost fatal. The whole time, we could hear Maria's voice from the parlor, singing the same song over and over. It was like a broken, crazy cassette tape. We'd been in that room almost constantly since morning. All the frightening things had occurred outside that room. Had that left us with the impression that only this room was safe? That baseless impression was quickly falling apart. It's open. Thank you. George-kun, Jessica, move behind me. Aunt Natsui. Let's jump in at the same time and split up in different directions. If we just stand around after opening the door, those ice picks might fly through the center. I agree. Ready? Okay. I really wish I could say no. I'm ready myself. If they're gonna be throwing ice picks, I'll whack them with this candle stand. Go! Aunt Natsui and I rammed into the door before flying into the parlor, quickly splitting up left and right and searching the parlor for someone who might be waiting for us. But what our eyes landed on was an incredibly strange sight. The parlor was stained with blood. This place, where we spent almost the entire day, where we pressed in together to protect ourselves from some unknown malice, had been stained with fresh blood, had become an ocean of blood. On the floor lay Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, and Dr. Nanjo, their entire bodies stained bright red with blood. But the only way we could identify them was by their clothes. That was because... that's right, this is how the whole tragedy started. Their faces, just like our smashed-up parents in this shred, you couldn't tell where their eyes stopped and their noses began. Alright, go grab your food, Fanero. It was as though they'd really plunged their faces into tomato pot pies, all squished up. That wasn't all. Their bodies had other wounds. It was those demonic ice picks. They were in Genji's stomach, Dr. Nanjo's thigh, no, his knee? That's right, of course it's his knee. In the epitaph, the 6th twilight was the stomach, and on the 7th twilight, the knee was gouged. So after seeing one of them stuck near Kumasawa Ba-chan's calf, I couldn't help masochistically laughing. That's right. On the 6th twilight, gouged the stomach and kill. On the 7th twilight, gouged the knee and kill. On the 8th twilight, gouged the leg and kill. Now even the 8th twilight is over. The next one, the 9th twilight, what was it again? Maria. Maria was there. She was facing the wall in the inner part of the room, standing stock still, completely alone. She faced away from this horrible scene, standing by the wall, singing her song over and over. There was nothing else in the room. Just the corpses of the 3 who had been brutally killed, the phone receiver, which was still off its hook, proving that this was the room the call had come from. Just that, and Maria, her back to the scene as she kept on singing while facing the wall. We couldn't even scream at this bizarre scene. We could only stare, shocked, with our mouths hanging loosely open. Maria? Jessica called out to her, but Maria showed no reaction. Alone, she kept singing on and on. We'd come here, trying to save Maria from some approaching danger. So now that we had found her, we should have been running up to Maria, hugging her, joyous that she was safe. Yet, not one of us could do that. Everyone thought it. They couldn't say it. After all, because... That's right, even if that's crazy... No, that couldn't be. Maria, stop singing. Are you listening? At some point, Aunt Natsui and I pointed our weapons at Maria's back. I yelled at Maria in a violent voice. There was no reaction. She just kept singing. With the candle stand still ready, I ran up to her and forcefully, no, violently slammed my hand down on her shoulder. Then I pulled on her shoulder, forcing her to turn around. Whoa! Ugh. Maria's small body was quickly pulled down and fell. And as though unhappy at having her singing interrupted, Maria looked into my face with her usual expression. Even in this gruesome situation, she was just like normal. Maria, what is this? Who did it? Ooh, Beatrice! Cut that crap! I threw the candle stand I'd been holding against the wall. The violence of that reckless sound should have gone straight to Maria's heart. But Maria's expression didn't change at all. Put it, Battler-kun. Maria-chan, this time, you should have seen the face of the culprit who killed these three. Was the culprit the same Beatrice who gave you the letter? Ooh, Beatrice. Well, in that case, it's certain. There's a 19th person. Beatrice does exist. Then Maria, will you at least tell me this much? How did they kill these three people? What did they use to kill them in such a brutal way? I don't know. How could you not know? It happened in this room. Are you trying to tell me you were so absorbed in singing you didn't notice? Calm down, Battler-kun. Maria-chan, talk to me. Okay? George Yannicki, as he always did, crouched down next to Maria so that their eyes met and talked to her very kindly. Maria-chan, why were you facing the wall and singing? Ugh. Beatrice said to face the wall and keep singing for a long time. Ugh. So did Beatrice come here? Were Genji-san and the rest still alive then? Ugh. Everyone came into the parlor together and sat down. Genji-san made sure to lock the door. It's locked when we got here. But then, how did Beatrice get into the parlor? Ugh. Beatrice is a witch, so locks don't matter. She turned into butterflies and came in through the crack in the door. Huh? Calmly joking at a time like this? Like hell that happened. What are you saying? Hehehe. You can't believe it? That's why I didn't want to say. No matter how I say it, you won't believe. But Beatrice is a witch. She can do anything with her miraculous magic. That's why Beatrice doesn't care whether a door is locked or not. Heh. And then, after Beatrice appeared, what happened to everyone? Beatrice talked to us. She said grandfather's study was protected by a powerful force and she couldn't enter no matter what she did. So she told us she'd select 3 sacrifices from the 4 people in the parlor. Everyone said no way. Kumasawa kept saying no way, no way. But Beatrice chose. And when she did, Beatrice said I'd be fine. Why do you think? It's because of the scorpion charm with the 5th magic circle of Mars, the one Battler used to pray for my safety, the one he put his feelings into. Because of that power, Beatrice couldn't do anything to me, and me alone. So she decided to use the other 3 as sacrifices. After that, Beatrice spoke. Come, face the wall and sing a song for me. You will sing lots and lots of songs, so no matter what happens, no matter what you hear, you won't hear, you won't know. Come, sing lots of fun songs for me. So I was singing the whole time, over and over. So I didn't hear anything, didn't know anything. And then all of you came. Ugh. Are you asking us to believe that? You think we're stupid? Yeah. Then who will you suspect this time? Will you suspect me? Gonna try killing me right here? Even if you do that, Beatrice won't stop existing. Now the 8th twilight is over and Beatrice will revive. Are you serious? I've had enough of that talk. As if witches could exist, as if I'd let myself get tricked. I won't accept it. Beatrice doesn't exist. I definitely won't accept it. So I won't let her exist. I won't let her revive. The legend will remain a legend forever. I won't acknowledge something like that. Put it, Battler. It's not like Maria killed them or left them die. Beatrice came and Maria had to obey. Was unable to resist. Huh? Aunt Natsui? She isn't here. Huh? What? Mom, where'd she go? Just now she left by herself, reading a letter. Letter? That makes sense. The culprit must be so exhilarated now that they've reached the 8th twilight. They might have left a letter so that they could brag even more. We were so wrapped up in questioning Maria that we forgot to look for a letter. But even as well-armed as she was, why had she left the room by herself in this dangerous mansion after reading it? Jessica tried to chase after her and tugged at the handle of the door, but it resisted strangely and wouldn't open. Mom! Mom! What's going on? Open up! Open up! It was only natural. Natsui had picked up the candle stand which Battler had thrown at the wall and which had fallen to the floor. She had then skillfully wedged it between the doorknobs of the double doors like a bolt, holding them closed. The intricate designs of the candle stand caused it to get caught solidly, and really did make a sturdy seal on the door. The tragic scream of a daughter for her mother. Did it reach Natsui's ears or not? Natsui's figure was alone in the entrance hall. It's a place decorated by the portrait of Beatrice. After all that loud music, it's so quiet now. Natsui threw down Beatrice's last letter, the one she had read in the parlor, readied her rifle again, and in a voice that rang clear, yelled in the massive space that was the entrance hall. I am Ushiromiya Natsui, representative of the Ushiromiya family. Show yourself, Golden Witch Beatrice. The entrance hall was dimly lit. Other than a faint light which shone on the center of the room, everything was blotted out by the jet black darkness. In that darkness, butterflies glittering in the gold squirmed, twinkled, and sneered. Natsui gave one more huge gulp, pointed the cold barrel of the gun at the gold butterflies. So you have finally shown yourself. Still can't believe that something like you really exists. But that isn't a problem. Both I, who bear the title of representative to the Ushiromiya family, and you who claim to succeed the headship of the Ushiromiya family, are here right now. At this point, whether you are a witch or not is a trivial matter. Come, let us settle this. Which of us will truly succeed the Ushiromiya family? I, Ushiromiya Natsui, or you, Beatrice? Allow me to respectfully accept your request for a duel. That's creepy. The gold butterfly slowly formed a human shape, which walked into the dim light. Natsui readied her rifle and glared. The witch raised her golden staff overhead and laughed. Natsui's finger slowly squeezed the trigger. And go! Battler made an all-out dash at the door and rammed into it, crushing the candle stand that had been barring it, making it possible for a big gap to be opened in the door. He kept kicking the candle stand through the gap, and the door was finally released. At that time, they heard it. They certainly heard the crisp sound of gunfire ringing out once. Mom! Mom! Jessica-chan, you mustn't run off by yourself. Was that the sound of a gun just now? Did Aunt Natsui shoot? At whom? At the culprit? The noise had come from the entrance hall. The entrance hall looked like a stage. Like the heroine of a tragedy on the ground and bathed in light. Arrayed in the beauty of that silence, Aunt Natsui lay face up, crumpled on the floor. Half crazed, Jessica ran up to Aunt Natsui. On Natsui's forehead, it was almost as though a sparkling shard of pigeon blood ruby had been placed there. And from it, one stream of blood makeup passed by her eye and began to traverse her face. A faint smell of gunpowder smoke came from the barrel of the rifle Aunt Natsui still grasped. Huh? Then she shot herself in the forehead? Why? Mom! 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 Yeah! I don't get it. Why did Aunt Natsui run away alone? And why did she shoot through her own forehead? Maria-chan, Aunt Natsui left the room after reading a letter, right? There's no letter here. Damn it, what did Aunt Natsui read and why was she lured out here? I don't know. Who cares about that? What the hell? Why did she kill herself? Why did she leave me all alone? Ah! Jessica clung to her mother's corpse, crying earnestly. My body was consumed with an anger I didn't know what to do with, and I snatched the rifle from Aunt Natsui's hand. I spun around, pointing the barrel of the gun into the darkness on all sides, as though I was pointing a light from a lighthouse, trying to find the culprit. George Anarchy, even this situation, was trying to calmly figure something out, but that might have been a fruitless effort. And only Maria was completely indifferent. So is this all supposed to be some kind of predetermined fate? No, that's not it. This is all a prelude to a wonderful world. The door to the Golden Land will finally open. In the 9th twilight the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. And on the 10th twilight, at journey's end, ye shall attain the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. With this, everything is over, Beatrice. Congratulations. Congratulations. So lead me. Lead me to the Golden Land you told me of. Right now. There, all of the dead will be revived, and even lost love will be restored. So, in Maria's eyes, it's just as though all of today's tragedies didn't happen. It's as though all the time she spent deprived of love never happened. Stop it. What's so fun? What's to be congratulated? There were 18 people on this island. 14 are dead. Only 4 of us are left. I'm definitely not gonna die. Until the night is over. No, until the typhoon passes and the singles gather again at the harbor. I'm definitely not gonna die. I'll stay alive. I'll stay alive no matter what. Give it up, Battler. Guns are useless against witches. Survival and all that stuff doesn't matter because it's over. The journey has already ended. See, look at the clock. Huh? Clock? Hearing those words, I looked at my wristwatch. Both needles were almost touching near the top. Very soon it will be 12 o'clock at night. In other words, 2400. When you think about it, isn't 2400 a strange time? It can be called 2400 and it can also be called 000. The hour at the culmination of the previous day, and at the same time, it's hour 0 at the next day as the next day begins. Beatrice? Maria suddenly called out happily and ran towards the darkness. Almost as though Beatrice was somewhere in that darkness. Maria was running up to her. Jessica hugged her mother's corpse. Georgia and Nikki stood there confused. I looked down at the barrel of my rifle, gazing into the darkness. The space in front of Beatrice's portrait lay in that direction, and the thing Maria was running up to was the portrait's subject. You've got to be kidding me. This is just impossible. Like, I fall for something like this. Witches don't exist. I won't accept it. Something like you shouldn't exist because this is a human world. You think I would accept something that's not human? I definitely won't accept it. When I pulled hard on the rifle's lever, the cartridge was ejected, fell on the floor, and a new cartridge was loaded. Then I sighted the witch down the barrel. Maria turned around. Still clinging to the golden witch, she turned around. Didn't I tell you it was meaningless? Near-lead bullets are meaningless against Beatrice. Humans are so stupid, aren't they? Hey. Won't accept the existence of witches. Who are you? Just try moving one step. Just try moving one finger. I'll blast you away. Insert laughter here. As the witch, no, the witches laughed. Even the large clock on the hall joined in on their laughter. It's probably telling us that the time was midnight. It was both a tone telling us we had reached the culmination of this day, and a tone informing us that all had returned to nothing. The rule that the witch would win when time ran out had already been revealed. Battler, George, Nishan, and Jessica. The journey has ended, and the witch has revived, see? And none shall be left alive. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the golden land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for a time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice. Made it to midnight. The storm passed, and the leaden clouds that had enshrouded the island for so long cleared away. From the rifts between the clouds, sunbeams shone. Yesterday's storm seemed like a lie. Just as someone had wished, the seagulls returned to the harbor once again and let their lively cries be heard. Afterwards, the police came and conducted an investigation of the scene. The corpses of the children, who were thought to have survived until the very end, were never found. However, because the body parts that were discovered and the unimaginably gruesome nature of the scene, the police were forced to conclude that the chances of survival for any of the 18, even the children, seemed hopelessly dim. Just how gruesome was the banquet of the witch, and how beautiful was the golden land. They were the only ones who got to hear that tale. No tales were told to those humans who arrived after the banquet was over. The best they could do was imagine what might have happened during those days. Those 2 days. However, the witch was fickle. She made a point of leaving behind this tale, which didn't need to be heard, and it was allowed to spread. Then, many years later, a strange wine bottle that had drifted on the waves to the pier of a neighboring island was pulled out by a fisherman. Inside was a thin, tightly rolled notebook fragment, written upon in cramped small letters. Written there was this tale. Through this notebook fragment, people will finally learn the truth of the mysterious and riddle-filled 2-day period that started on October 4th, 1986. This incident was later called by many names, such as the Rokujima mass murders or the 18 killings of Rokujima. The dilettantes from around the world knew it as the witch legend serial murders. Lovers of the occult claimed it was all the result of an immoral ceremony that had sealed off the island, and those 2 mysterious days were savagely embellished with many different interpretations as the story began to spread far and wide. However, not one of these interpretations approached the truth. Furthermore, while the notebook fragment described this mysterious incident, it does not reveal the truth of what happened there, or perhaps even the writer didn't know what the truth was. According to the writer, her name was Ushiromiya Maria. Incidentally, as a result of an all-out police investigation, part of Maria's body, a piece of her jaw, was discovered. It was one of the rare instances where a corpse was identified thanks to dental records. At that gruesome scene, there had been many body parts that couldn't be identified as belonging to any specific person. It's probably fair to say that this jaw was an extremely fortunate find. Because this jaw had been separated from the body, the police judged her chances of survival to be hopelessly dim, even though none of her other body parts were found or at least identified. So let's conclude this tale with the final section of the notebook fragment that Maria left behind. By the time you read this, I will probably be dead, although there may or may not be a corpse. You who have read this, please find out the truth. That is my only wish. Ushiromiya Maria. To this day, the truth of the witch legend serial murders has not been brought to light. First game, Legend of the Golden Witch result. Ushiromiya Kraus died on the first twilight, chosen by the Key of the Golden Land, and offered up as a sacrifice. Ushiromiya Rudolph, first twilight. Ushiromiya Kyrie, first twilight. Ushiromiya Rosa, first twilight. Servant Shannon, first twilight. Servant Goda, first twilight. Ushiromiya Eva, second twilight, pierced through the forehead by the stake of Asmodeus. Ushiromiya Hideyoshi, second twilight, stake of Beelzebub. Hinzo, fourth twilight, I can't read all of this fast enough. Servant Cannon, fifth twilight. Genji, sixth twilight. Dr. Nanjo, seventh twilight. Kumasawa, eighth twilight. Witch Beatrice, revived on the ninth twilight. Ushiromiya Natsui, ninth twilight, which praised her nobility and granted her the honor of a duel. George, missing on 10th twilight, acknowledged the existence of the witch and prostrated themselves for those 3. Ushiromiya Battler, 10th twilight, will the witch invite this man who denied her existence to the Golden Land? The witch will praise the wise and should bestow 4 treasures in the Golden Land. There they chose to revive the souls of the dead and the love that had been lost. After all, no matter how large a mountain of gold they might have desired, it would have been out of their grasp. George chose his lost fiancé. Jessica chose the boy she had liked and lost. Maria chose the lost love of her mother. Sleep peacefully, Beatrice. Let nothing disturb your slumber ever again. The winner is the Golden Witch, Beatrice. Time ran out before even one of the 18 people could solve the riddle of the gold. All 18 died, and the seagulls cried. None were left alive. That was a lot of reading. Everyone, half an arrow, either died or is missing in a way.